Now, the second principle of mental mastery in the markets is called transcend judgment or transcending judgment. And the reason I put this as the second in my course and the second when I work with one-on-one clients as well is because it's very obvious after you work and you see a lot of traders come in, it's very obvious that traders tend to be in either one or of the other state. You can either see traders who are really, beating themselves up over mistakes they've made and actions they've done that they think they shouldn't have done, and they're beating themselves up in a state of shame about the action they did. Like, for example, taking a trade that wasn't part of their plan or over risking. Or you see traders in the extreme opposite, where they're in manic states of pride about how good they are and how much money they made and the funding they've gained and all those types of things. And it's very common to see a trader either in a state of shame, beating themselves up over their actions, or in a state of pride, puffing themselves up about their actions. And what I've seen is that if you're in either an extreme state of shame or an extreme state of pride, you can't effectively trade your trading plan. Because if you're beating yourself up over a particular action, you're in a state of shame, you're going to go off and you're going to fear doing that particular thing again. And you're going to have the fear of losing, which means you're going to try and avoid the pain of losing or doing that particular action again, which is going to take you away from a process, objective state of mind of executing according to your plan. Because now at the back of your head, you're going to have that fear associated with execution. And if you're in a state of pride, you're going to become complacent and take lower quality setups, and you're going to go off and you're going to think you know better than the market. You're going to project onto the market. You're not going to be listening to the market. Guess what? The market's never wrong, so you're eventually going to get humbled in that state as well. So what I've observed is that either beating yourself up or building yourself up as a trader is very counterproductive. But a lot of people just don't have the tools to be able to go in there and deal with those particular things. Now, ultimately, our shame and our pride get neutralized eventually. If you think about it this way, if you were to go onto your Facebook or Instagram and tell all your friends how terrible of a person you were, all the terrible things you've done, all the weird shit you do, all the things you don't want people to know about you, if you were to go off and put that onto that particular thing, onto your Instagram, onto your Facebook, then what's going to happen? You're going to attract people who come into your life to tell you that you're not too bad of a person. They're going to support you and they're going to build you back up. So whenever we go into an extreme state of shame, we attract people who then eventually build us back up. Or if you were to go onto your Facebook and Instagram and tell your friends and family how good you are and all your highlights and all your successes in life, then you're ultimately going to attract people who shoot you down. They're going to remind you of all the, the things you've overlooked and all the terrible things you've done to counterbalance you. So whenever we go into an extreme state of pride or shame, we inevitably over time get brought back to the center point. Why? Because our shame and our pride isn't us. We're the integration of both. Shame is a self-deflated state and pride is a self-exaggerated state. Neither of those are our true self. So whenever we go out of our true self, we attract external circumstances to bring us back to our true self. And that's a little bit of a deeper concept, but I've seen this common as with traders, and this is ultimately what I've seen with the boom and bust cycle, is that when traders start to do well, they start to build themselves up in pride, and they're infatuated with their actions of doing well. They ultimately attract that low priority distractions. They attract, taking low quality setups, shitty trades in their trading plan, or they go off and they become complacent with the processes they got them there in the first place. And as a result, they start to take crappy trades and they start to beat themselves up. And then when they get in such a low state of shame, they start to take high priority actions and high priority setups in their trading plan, and they tighten up and they go back to priority and they start doing their processes again, and they start to build themselves up again. And the cycle repeats. When they're up here and they're proud and infatuated, they then self-sabotage and they blow or they bust, and they go through the boom and bust cycle. So being aware of your pride and shame and having tools or questions to self-equilibrate instantly so you don't go through that cycle is very powerful. So what I mean by this is you can either start doing well as a trader and build yourself up with pride and then inevitably get humbled by the market because you start taking lower quality setups. Or when you start to do well, you can instantly ask yourself, what are the drawbacks? What are the risks? What am I overlooking? And you can self-govern with good questions so you don't build yourself up into a state of pride. And if you're doing that, you're not infatuated or in a state of pride about the winning, you're balanced on the winning. You don't see winning as necessarily good, but you see it more as a balanced thing because you're aware of the risks and drawbacks of winning as well. You're not going to attract the humbling circumstances from the market, and you're less likely to go on that, what, Mark Douglas explained as the bust cycle. And then when you go into a state of shame, you have good questions to identify what are the benefits, what are the advantages, what am I doing well, so you can self-govern and get yourself back to a state of equilibrium, as opposed to needing the external governance from the market to get you back there. So you can either be run by the market in the extrinsic world over time by being in a state of pride and a state of shame, and then pride and then shame, or you can instantaneously self-govern yourself. When you go into pride and you puff yourself up, you are aware of that and you ask good questions to self-equilibrate, and the same when you go into shame. And without needing the time component, you can instantly self-govern and you can transcend what Mark Douglas explained as the boom and bust cycle. So what I've observed and what I've implemented with a lot of my clients is giving them that set of questions and that level of awareness when they do puff themselves up and build themselves up, a way to self-equilibrate and self-govern. So they're not inevitably attracting the humbling circumstances and the drawdown from the market, because they're balanced and they're not infatuated or in a state of pride about their winning. They're balanced on it. And same in reverse with the shame. So being able to go in there and self-govern and transcend judgment whenever you win or whenever you lose is an incredibly powerful exercise and process. And to be honest, it's not all that difficult to do. You need to have yourself a good set of questions. I outlined the detailed questions in my course and my one-on-one coaching. But just to give you a quick overview, just make yourself aware of the risks, the drawbacks, and the disservices of winning when you go into those big manic states. Make yourself aware of the drawbacks to your processes, how complacent, the complacency that comes on. Make yourself aware of the drawbacks to your relationships, to your health, to all areas of your life. And when you go into shame, make yourself aware of the advantages and the benefits of your actions, how those actions served your life. Go make yourself aware of how you in a drawdown is serving and benefiting your work and your relationships and your health, and see how it helps you go in there and get back to priority. Because whenever you get challenged, you go back to priority. So make yourself aware of these things, and you'll realize that transcending the boom and bust cycle and consistency as a trader is a state of mind. It's a matter of awareness, it's a matter of perception, and it's very easy to become consistent as a trader if you have a great set of questions to help you self-govern and ultimately get you back to executing according to your processes, not be run by your emotions of fear and greed. So I hope this was insightful and a little bit mind expanding. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.